Well, this afternoon, real estate developers and other consumers of electricity that will require certain specialized services from the ECG will have to pay more beginning this month. This is because the Electricity Company of Ghana is implementing new service charges. So what are the implications of the increment in the service charges on the average Ghanaian? Here's a report. New service charges will affect 9 items. They include straight service, additional load, pole extension, temporary supply, and internal monitoring. The charges will vary from 100 cedis to a little above 6,700 cedis, depending on the type of the service charge. However, those who will require a replacement of meters will not pay any fee, but those who want a separate meter will pay for that. These service charges could translate into an increase in rent and the price of housing or real estate in the country. As a result, it will impact on the cost of living since one will need to pay more for renting or acquiring an apartment. These obviously will affect the disposable income of people. Meanwhile, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission (PURC) will before the end of the first quarter of this year announce new tariffs for electricity and water. Let's bring in Executive Secretary of GREDA, Samuel Amegaibo. Thanks for your time. How could this impact the price of rent and the sale of houses?
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity. I think what is happening is that this cost that is normally one-off to the developer. And so in terms of its significance, it may not be too much. I have tried to find out from what the cost was before it was increased up to this point, the percentage increase. Unfortunately, I couldn't find it. But my check across most of our developers is that though it is high and it is one-off, cost to the developer, it may not significantly affect us, except that any increment in production, whatever product you are dealing with, if there's any cost in the entire or the total cost of production, it has some marginal increment effect on the product. But because it is one-off expenditure, it may be managed. But the honest truth also is that when I did my check, most of them told me that in actual fact, they've been paying even more than this amount to subcontractors of ECG to get their connections done. Meaning that, ECG have some subcontractors who have been given the mandate to help in these connections. But some of them are either extorting or charging more than the regular fees. So some of them said that when they saw the figures, they went like, oh, they have been paying more, for some of the services that have been listed there than what has been outlined. And so it was a bit shocking to us. And we think that though it's an increment, unless what they will be paying now will also be more than what we were paying initially. But they honestly told me that the figures that have been listed there, they've even been paying more already for that to the subcontractors who are doing the connection for them.
I can imagine that. But let's take a bit of a drift from this topic to assess the state of Ghana's housing market. Mr. Amegaibo, we saw the fact that COVID-19 really disrupted the Ghanaian economy. But yet again, we're also seeing inflation rate increase with factors regarding housing also being mentioned by the Ghana Statistical Service. How is the housing market faring?
I've stayed very high lately. If you look at materials like iron rod, cement, and most of the major materials that we import, especially that we import, because of the freight charges and lack of it, scarcity of it, most of us are paying a lot more for the building materials than we used to pay for since COVID came in. So already we are feeling it. And I can tell you, iron rods, for example, went up for over 40-something% as at early last year. And we haven't seen any adjustment or any effect of anything that is going to bring the cost down at the moment. We have had stakeholder engagement. We have met government officials to the point of meeting parliamentarians to discuss how best this can be done. This down as we speak.
Should things continue to go?
Yeah, should things continue the way they are regarding the prices, you know, at the ports and the increase in production cost? Help us understand an estimate regarding the percentage increment in the cost of housing this year.
Okay, depending on what the effects are. So, for example, material constitutes a percentage of the price buildup for every developer. So the effect of that will be calculated based on that. And all the others that we know, it will have some impact. And so every developer is going to look at the various price build-up items and then see where the cost increments are and do the corresponding adjustment to it.
Mr. Megayebo, we're grateful for your input on this matter regarding the housing sector. Here's with the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association.